Welcome into Seahawks Today. I am your host, Will Ortner, and the Seahawks made a very smart signing over the last couple of days. They signed a former UW standout linebacker, Alphonzo Tuputala, to add some much-needed depth to that linebacking position and group. I want you to sound off in the comments right now about how excited you are for the addition of the UW standout, former Husky great Alfonso Tupatala. Type AT into those comments. Let's go. All right, I cannot be the only person here at Chat Sports, the only person here at Seahawks Today that is excited about the addition of Alphonzo Tuputala. Now, I might be a little bit biased because I've been hearing the great Tuputala name since his days all the way back in high school, but I really do think that the local kid can be a standout here with the Seahawks. Now, he is a former UW linebacker, had a couple tackles or two, had a couple interceptions, was a big-time performer for the Huskies. He was a 3-year starter. He played on that team that went to the national championship, just weren't able to get it done against that Michigan team. Now, he did spend the early part of rookie minicamp as an unsigned player with the Seahawks. So he's not totally coming in green, right? He has some experience in the system and what's going on over there on that defensive side of the football. Now, unfortunately, to get Tuputala onto the roster, the Seahawks did have to waive defensive back Cam Alexander. But I know this, at least I know it for me, whenever a local kid, a kid out of Federal Way like Tuputala, makes it on the Seahawks roster, even if it is just for training camp, and there's plenty of time for him to attempt to make this roster, it's going to be difficult. But I do think he's going to have a good shot at it. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed, and I'm going to be rooting for the kid. Hopefully he makes it on that 53-man roster. If he doesn't, more than likely probably won't, he ends up on that practice squad. Now, I do want to dive into the stats because I think there are some things here that you might not notice at first glance. He has 221 tackles for his career, but the more important number to me for Tuputala is his tackles for loss and his sack numbers. Now, what I was always taught as an offensive lineman is you never want defensive linemen to make tackles, because defensive linemen making tackles, that usually means they're making tackles for loss and they're making tackles in the backfield. Linebackers, of course, you're going to try and keep them off the running back, but usually if a running back is getting tackled by a linebacker, that means that you've gained at least some yardage. So for Tuputala to have 13 tackles for loss and 8 sacks over 53 games, that's freaking big time. Now, my take on Tuputala, while it might be biased because I always love seeing Washington high school football players do well, being one myself, I do think that Tuputala is going to add some much-needed depth to this linebacking core that is frankly a little banged up right now. Everyone knows that starting will linebacker Tyrese Knight, he's been out for all of training camp dealing with a knee injury and another medical issue that we're going to get into more detail a little bit later. Ernest Jones obviously had a family situation. He ended up missing some time. So you're getting a lot of run from the backups between Thomas and Ross at that middle linebacker spot and O'Connell and Jackson at that will spot. I did think that O'Connell played a pretty decent game over there at that will linebacker position. Now, the reason that Tuputala is going to add that depth is because Tyrese Knight doesn't seem like he's going to be coming back anytime soon. I want to get into that, but before I do, I need you to like this video. The more likes that we get on videos, the more my bosses come up to me with big smiles on their faces instead of big old frowns. So if you're excited for the Seahawks football season, make sure you go down and you hit that big thumbs up button. Now, I spent the whole first half, glass half full, talking about the addition of Alphonzo Tuputala, former Federal Way Eagle great. Here's my worry, though. Tyrese Knight, he's having a lot of medical issues. Coach Mike MacDonald had a quote that came out the other day from Bob Condata of the Seattle Times. At least that's where I found it. I know he does his traditional press conference type meetings. And in it, he talked about Knight coming back from his injury and having another medical issue. Now, MacDonald didn't go into great detail on what the medical issue is, and frankly, the Seahawks haven't gone into great detail on what the knee injury is, but they do claim that they expect Knight to be back by the season opener. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I watch a little bit of NBA basketball. You know who always is hurt and is always talking about knee issues, but don't worry, I'll be back soon? Joel Embiid. Now, I'm not saying that that's a similar situation here with Knight, and I get it, man. HIPAA's a thing. You want privacy for your knee injuries. I don't deserve to know everything. I've got a doctor named Dr. MacDonald. I don't want Dr. MacDonald. That's a real doctor, by the way. That's really my doctor. I don't want her coming out and telling you what my medical issues are. I want that to stay with me. But that does leave me some worry when it comes to NFL players and honestly, athletes in general. We're so used to knowing what injuries a player is fighting through, what they're dealing with, what their timetable is back. Right? Like, I follow a guy on X whose name is literally Sports Media Doctor. He looks at videos and he makes claims on how long a person is going to be out. We are used to knowing what the injury is and how long they're going to be out. So it worries me that we don't know the extent of the knee injury for Knight. It worries me that we don't know what the new medical issue is for Knight. And the closer that we get to the regular season happening, and the more we hear about him not practicing, is he going to be ready for the season when we actually have week 1 get here? Knight was a huge part of the surge that the Seahawks had last year, especially in the back half when he became a starter. He played in all 16 games, but the most important were the ones he started. He started in 8 games last year. In those 8 games at the end, Seahawks went 6-2. Look, the tackle numbers, they're fine. They are indicative of a player who started for half the games at that will linebacker position. That's how long Knight played. He had a couple sacks, right? Or a sack and a half, couple TFLs. He's playing downhill. And he's playing that Robin to the Batman that is Ernest Jones. Now, I don't want to say that Knight is the catalyst because I think everybody knows that once Seattle made that trade to go get Ernest Jones IV and bring him in as that Mike linebacker, the defense really started to uptick. But it went from 80% efficiency to, I think, that full 100 once Knight got into his starting position at that will linebacker. He didn't miss tackles. He played downhill. He played in the backfield. And he really was the perfect complement to everything that Ernest Jones IV had going there at that middle linebacker spot. So now, while I am a bit worried and I am concerned, I also know that at times I can be a little bit of a negative Nelly. And so I want you, if you have time, in fact, I know you have time because you're still here watching this whole video, you're going to comment your opinions down below. Feel free, call me an idiot. Will, you're so dumb. It's not even preseason game number 2 yet. You shouldn't worry about Tyrese Knight. Or you can agree with me. That's okay too. You can go down there and comment and say, Will, you're so handsome and pretty and probably lifting a lot of weights. You're so jacked. You're so right on Tyrese Knight. I agree with you completely. Hopefully, I'm just being a negative Nelly and I'm worrying too much. And hopefully those of you who agree with me, we're all in the same spot. But there is a little bit of concern there. I want to say thank you so much to everyone who viewed the last video and who came in and wanted to follow me on social media. Obviously, at the very end, we put up my Instagram, we put up my Twitter, and I want to just give a special shout out to Genesee, Pedro, Nick, Paul, and Kevin for following me over on X or Twitter, whatever you call it. I know it's a little bit different now since there's a new person in charge, at least new for the last couple of years. If you're ever confused on what my profile looks like, because Will Ortner is a semi-common name out there, you're going to look over at Pedro and Paul. You see their names? There's that picture of that beautiful little kid there with sports goggles on, looking like Kurt Rambis with a very bad mullet, biting a medal. That's me in 6th grade after I took Glenwood Little League. That's right, Glenwood Little League to the Washington State Little League tournament. Didn't quite get to the Little League World Series. That's okay. If you want to follow me, you're going to get a lot of Seahawk updates on X and on Instagram. I promise you're going to get some other pictures and some spelling errors. That'll happen as well. I think today I already am hyping up the Central Washington football team. Number 21 in the nation, baby. Catch the fever. But of course, there will always be a lot of Seahawks content and chat sports content there as well. Until next time, thank you for viewing the video.